Hey guys, another One Take review, and today I want to talk about MF Doom's Operation Doomsday. Operation Doomsday is the debut solo album from underground hip-hop slash rap icon who has slowly become less underground since his unfortunate passing in recent times, MF Doom, whose persona, his rapping style, his delivery, and his lyricism have made him one of the most immediately intriguing rappers to ever grace the rap genre, and as such, Operation Doomsday is easily one of the most immediately engaging records of all of hip hop. I think it would actually be fair to say that Doom's entire stage persona is one of the most immediately iconic and interesting personas throughout not only hip hop and rap, but all music history as well. And the Marvel influenced Doctor Doom themed character would obviously attract Marvel fans such as myself. But at the same time, I do think that the entire persona is very unique and makes him stand out from other musicians across all genres that make use of characters or personas. I mean, if you really want to make a comparison, you could say that the entire MF Doom character is equivalent to David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust character. Two completely different genres, of course, between hip hop and glam rock, but at the same time, I think they're comparable as they are both very unique, interesting characters that highly differ, but yet still directly relate to the person behind them. However, Doom's supervillainous-esque appearance goes far beyond, well, just his appearance. It really directly goes into his lyricism and his performance style, with songs like Go With The Flow and The Mic being directly involved within this entire world in which this MF Doom character exists. This is further developed upon with the sampling of old Hanna-Barbera era cartoons of the Fantastic Four and Captain America and the Avengers, etc., which really defines the album, gives it kind of a quirky, unique feel, and especially helps drive home the idea that MF Doom is this very villainous figure. No matter what you think of him as a performer, there's no denying that MF Doom is an artist that cannot be replicated in terms of persona. He's just such a unique individual with such an interesting lore and backstory that he has created behind his character, and I really do think that Operation Doomsday was an immediate success in the development of this sort of persona and figure, and also the fact that Marvel in the current year would absolutely just sue the eyeballs out of your sockets if you tried to do a Doctor Doom inspired character in the current 21st century with the MCU and all that. But nonetheless, my point still stands. MF Doom is one of the most immediately creative and interesting figures in all of hip hop. However, obviously, MF Doom is much more than just a famous comic book mask, and his flow definitely proves this as he weaves through these very well-crafted lines on songs like Gas Draws and rhymes like Dimes that really cements him as not just an interesting figure in hip-hop, but an incredibly talented one as well. I mean, obviously, Doom would go on to, further develop and prove his abilities on albums like Food and Vaudeville Villain as Victor Vaughn, and with Madlib on the Mad Villain album, but at the same time, one could definitely argue that even if Doom had just released Operation Doomsday and did get sued by Marvel, like I suggested that he would in the current day, and never made another album again, he would still be considered one of the greats. I mean, his performance here is genuinely immaculate, it's raw, but it's still technical and very impressive overall. While Doom undoubtedly was a fantastic rapper, something that he definitely proved on this album, it's actually his lyricism that really helps him achieve this feat of performance. As I stated before, Doom is capable of swiftly maneuvering his way through very complex lyrics, and that's because he writes his songs in a fashion that makes it possible for him to just sort of bounce around and almost play off of himself in his own sort of way. And that mixture of very well executed humor and overall rawness and honesty in his lyrical delivery is something that heavily defines him as a rapper and performer and makes Operation Doomsday a standout album among 1990s underground hip hop, a standout time for music. The debut of MF Doom with Operation Doomsday in '99 definitely made a pretty big statement as far as lyricism goes, which was that one of hip hop at least greatest lyricists is now solo and he's in full force, and that's something that he would continue to prove from his debut up until his last albums and his passing. Operation Doomsday's production is something that also definitely helps it get off the ground in terms of quality and overall freshness, even in the current day. People like Bobito, MF Grimm, Big Lou, and even MF Doom himself were all involved in the production of Operation Doomsday, and from the first skit starts off this album, you'll be able to recognize just how warm this record sounds. On top of this, Doom and every guest artist that appears, who unfortunately, like a lot of other hip hop albums, just don't stack up against the work of the primary artist, use seemingly blown out microphones and speakers, which makes for a strangely engaging and very direct performance on tracks like Doomsday, arguably Doom's most well known cut and one of his best as well. Really, Operation Doomsday isn't defined by any of its particular aspects. His flow is amazing, of course. Lyricism is on point, even though it would only get better from this point moving forward. The production is fantastic, and all of this just really comes together to form something truly amazing and artistic, while also very fun and enjoyable as well from a casual perspective. Overall, Operation Doomsday is inarguably one of the most unique hip hop albums of all time and a masterclass demonstration in both rapping and lyricism. While there are obviously some minor nitpicks that I could point out here or there, like some featured artists really not being all that great in comparison to Doom or even overall, there's really nothing here that isn't that worth noting, frankly, no more than other albums that I really love with small details that kind of bother me and prevent them from being absolute masterpieces. But as far as I'm aware, Operation Doomsday is not only one of the best debuts of hip hop, but one of the best debuts of all time in general. With this being as fantastic of an album as it is, I really feel like it's only right to give it 4.5 stars out of 5. I do think that Doom would go on to do better work with other projects under other names, even future MF Doom albums, but nonetheless, I still do think that this was an amazing debut and something that no artist could even hope to do by even their third album in. There's just no real musicians ever throughout history, or at least the history of hip hop, that are quite as creative as MF Doom and his multitude of other names, and very few others that I like quite as much. So 4.5 stars out of 5, and that being said, that's the end of this review, and I'll see you guys in the next one.